The WNBA just authorized a strike, and I'm about to tell you why this might be the dumbest move in professional sports history. Because while these players are demanding 33% of league revenue, they seem to have forgotten one tiny detail. This league has never turned a profit. Not once, in 28 years. But before we get into the absolute chaos that's about to unfold, let me ask you something. If your boss walked in tomorrow and said, "Here's 4 times your current salary," would you say no? Would you cross your arms and pout in the corner like a toddler at Toys R Us? Because that's exactly what's happening right now, and the fallout is going to be catastrophic. Here's what you need to understand. The WNBA owners just dropped a proposal that would raise maximum salaries from $250,000 to nearly $2 million over the life of the deal. Let that sink in. $2 million. Average salaries would jump from around $120,000 to over $770,000. Minimum salaries would exceed $250,000 in year 1 alone. This isn't a raise, this is a complete financial transformation. But the players' union said no. Why? Because it doesn't hit that magic 33% revenue share number. And apparently, principles matter more than nearly doubling your paycheck.
Do you guys see these numbers? These ladies are getting quadruple their salary raises. Quadruple. Which one of you guys, you go into work and your boss says, "Here, we appreciate you guys. Here's 4x what you're currently making." Who's complaining? Who's saying no? You see that? You see my people's eyebrow? Who's saying no? Who's complaining? Who's saying, "Oh yeah, but that's not enough for me"?
Now, let's talk about what revenue sharing actually means, because I don't think the players understand this. The league is currently offering 15% of net revenue. The players want 30% of gross revenue. Do you see the difference? Net versus gross. The owners are saying, "Look, we need to keep the lights on. We need to pay arena costs, marketing, operations, travel." The players are saying, "We don't care. Give us 33% of everything that comes in before you pay a single bill." That's not a negotiation. That's a ransom demand. And here's where it gets really interesting. The executive committee that has the power to call this strike, it's made up of Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier. You know, the co-founders of Unrivaled, the competing 3-and-re league. Oh, and Naga Umik, who's already signed to Project B, another competing league. So, let me get this straight. The people who can shut down the WNBA have direct financial interests in rival leagues that would benefit massively if the WNBA went dark. And nobody in the mainstream media is talking about this conflict of interest. Not ESPN, not The Athletic, nobody. Convenient, right? The league put out a statement, and it's one of the most professional middle fingers I've ever seen. They said, "We strongly disagree with the Player Association's characterization of negotiations, which fundamentally misrepresents the ongoing discussions." Translation: You're lying to the public. The owners are saying, "We're offering uncapped revenue sharing that grows with the league's success. We're offering immediate salary increases that would change your lives, and you're out here acting like we're the bad guys." The audacity is actually impressive.
The mischaracterizations. The Players Association is making it seem like the owners aren't trying to compromise. They're making it seem like the league isn't trying to negotiate. They're making it seem like the league isn't negotiating in good faith. And by everything that I've seen, the league is the one negotiating in good faith.
Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're 16 years old. Your rich dad buys you your first car. It's a Mercedes C-Class. Beautiful car, reliable, classy. But you wanted the AMG. You wanted the upgraded model, with the leather seats and the body kit and all the bells and whistles. So, what do? You throw a tantrum. You sit in the corner and pout. You tweet about how unfair your life is. That's these players right now, except they're not 16. They are grown adults, playing a professional sport that, until Caitlin Clark showed up, nobody was watching.
NBA players are reminding me of, they remind me of that rich kid getting their first car, and they get mad when daddy gets them a C-Class Mercedes instead of the AMG. How dare you? How dare you only give me the C-Class? I know you got money. Give me the AMG. I'm spoiled, I'm a brat, and I'm entitled to your money.
And that's the elephant in the room, isn't it? These ratings everybody's celebrating, they happen because of one player, one rookie, who brought eyeballs to a league that's been begging for attention for decades. But now the veteran players are acting like they built this momentum. Like they're the reason arenas are selling out. Like they deserve to cash in on a popularity spike that, let's be honest, might disappear the moment Caitlin retires. The owners are saying, "Prove you can sustain this.
Show us the ratings. Stick around.
Then we'll talk about the AMG deal. But these players want it now, before they've shown they can even merge lanes without scratching the paint. Here's what kills me. 98% of players voted to authorize this strike. That means only about 2 to 4 players had the common sense to say, wait, maybe we shouldn't blow up a deal that would make us millionaires.
2 to 4 players out of over 100.
Think about that. The groupthink is so strong that even players who know this is financial suicide are afraid to speak up, because if you vote against the union, you're a traitor.
You're not supporting your sisters.
Never mind that you're protecting your own financial future. Never mind that this could destroy the league permanently. Let's talk about the housing issue, because this is peak entitlement. The league wants to stop providing housing for players with guaranteed contracts. You know, like every other professional sports league in America. NBA players find their own housing.
NFL players find their own housing.
But the WNBA players are mad about this. Even though the league said they'll still provide housing for training camp players, 7-day contract players, and anyone traded mid-season, Breanna Stewart and Natasha Cloud said that's not good enough.
Really?
So even when the league is protecting the most vulnerable players, the ones on the bubble, that's still not enough for you. At what point does personal responsibility enter the equation? David Sampson, one of the smartest sports business minds in the game, came out and said something that should terrify these players. He said the NBA will draw a line on revenue sharing, and they will draw that line to the point of shutting the WNBA's doors. They will not give the revenue sharing the players want, and the women will compromise eventually. But here's the thing. Eventually might be too late, because every day this drags on, every headline about strikes and holdouts, it kills the momentum. It turns casual fans into former fans. And those people aren't coming back. The owners are negotiating in good faith. They are increasing their offer again and again. They are proposing uncapped revenue sharing that ties players' salaries directly to league growth. If the league does well, you do well. If revenues explode, your paychecks explode. That's the definition of partnership, but the players' union is stuck on this 33% number like it's a religious text. No flexibility, no compromise, just demands. And when you don't get your way, you threaten to strike. That's not negotiation. That's extortion. You want to know what's really happening here? The players overestimated their leverage. They thought the Caitlin Clark effect meant they suddenly had all the power. They thought fans would riot in the streets if the WNBA shut down, but go look at the social media reactions. Go read the comments under these articles. People are saying, let them strike. People are saying, we just survived months without WNBA basketball and we were fine. People are saying, maybe it's time to let this league die if the players don't want to be saved. That's the reality check nobody wants to hear, and here's where it gets even messier.
The rookies are under contract. The incoming draft class is under contract.
So if the veterans strike, the owners could theoretically say, fine, we'll play the season with rookies and replacement players. We'll sign every talented player sitting overseas who would kill for a WNBA contract. We'll rebuild from scratch.
Is the product going to be as good? No. But will it be cheap? Absolutely.
And maybe that's what this league needs.
A hard reset.
A reminder that professional basketball is a privilege, not a right. The players are burning through goodwill at an alarming rate. For years, the narrative was they deserve more money, and people agreed. Even casual fans said, yeah, they should get paid better.
But now the ask has shifted from fair pay to absurd demands.
Now it's about revenue sharing in a league that loses money every single year. Now it's about 33% of revenues that only exist because NBA owners are subsidizing your entire operation. The average American worker sees these salary offers and thinks, are you kidding me? You're complaining about becoming a millionaire. That disconnect is real, and it's growing. This is what happens when you confuse support with entitlement. Fans supported the WNBA because we wanted to see these athletes succeed.
We wanted to see women's basketball grow.
But support doesn't mean blind loyalty. Support doesn't mean we have to agree with every decision, every demand, every threat, and right now, these players are testing that support in ways they clearly don't understand. Because once you lose the casual fan, once you lose the people who tuned in for Caitlin Clark and stayed for the competition, you don't get them back. They're gone forever. The league statement mentions something crucial. Long-term sustainability. That's code for, if we give you what you want, we're bankrupt in 3 years. The owners aren't being greedy. They are being realistic. They are looking at the balance sheets and saying, we literally cannot afford 33% revenue sharing and keep this league operational.
But the players don't want to hear that.
They want their money,
And they want it now.
and they don't care if the league implodes in 5 years because by then they'll have made their millions and moved on. Here's a question nobody's asking.
What happens if they strike and nobody cares?
What happens if the season gets cancelled and casual fans just shrug and move on with their lives? What happens if the momentum from 2024 evaporates because players decided to hold out for more money instead of capitalizing on the biggest opportunity this league has ever had? Because that's the nightmare scenario, and it's looking more realistic every single day. The WNBA has 48 hours to terminate the current agreement.
So does the players' union. That means this thing could blow up at any moment. Some players need to wake up fast.
Diana Taurasi is 38 years old. If the season gets cancelled, she's 39. How many teams are signing a 40-year-old guard coming off a year layoff? Elena Del Dawn is 35.
Skylar Diggins-Smith is 35.
These veterans have maybe 2 or 3 years left in their careers, and they are willing to sacrifice one of those years on principle for what? A percentage point in revenue sharing. That's insanity.
That's career suicide.
But hey, at least they'll have their pride, right? You can't deposit pride at the bank. The mainstream media is failing spectacularly on this story. Every article, every report, it's all pro-player.
Nobody's asking the hard questions.
Nobody's pointing out the conflict of interest with the executive committee. Nobody's explaining that net revenue versus gross revenue matters. It's all just, the players are brave.
The players are standing up for themselves.
The players deserve more.
Okay. But deserve based on what? Feelings. Hypothetical future success.
Because if we're basing this on actual results, on actual profits, on actual financial performance, the players don't have a leg to stand on. So here's where we are. The WNBA owners have offered a transformative deal that would fundamentally change these players' lives. The players said no because it doesn't hit an arbitrary percentage that makes them feel valued. Now, we're staring down a potential strike that could kill the league's momentum, alienate fans, and destroy careers. All because some people couldn't accept a 7-times salary increase. All because pride mattered more than pragmatism. And when this thing inevitably blows up in their faces, when the owners call their bluff and the season gets cancelled, when fans move on and never come back, don't say nobody warned them, because the writing is on the wall, and it's written in red ink.